Welcome to the deep dive. Sometimes I feel like I'm living inside some kind of video game.
Uh-huh. How do you mean?
Well, think about it. You're always kind of chasing points, aren't you? Leveling up skills, comparing your stats, your
Yeah.
steps, your screen time, whatever.
Right, the metrics are everywhere.
Exactly. So today we're going to dig into this whole gamified way we seem to be approaching modern life, especially online. And, with all this self-improvement stuff.
And now it might be tapping into some really, really fundamental parts of our psychology. It's quite striking, actually.
Yeah.
How the language of games has just sort of infiltrated everything. We talk about hacking productivity, optimizing sleep.
Oh, yeah, winning at dating even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a surface trend, is it? It feels like it reflects a deeper shift in how we see ourselves, how we measure progress.
We're turning our lives into these quantifiable quests.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so this idea, the gamified self, let's unpack that a bit. It really is everywhere when you start looking.
It is.
Your fitness tracker, right. It gives you little digital badges for hitting, 10,000 steps. Or language apps. They shower you with virtual confetti because you learned 5 new words.
And even workplace software tracking output, rewarding you with like virtual high fives or points on a leaderboard.
So what's the hook? What makes it so immediately appealing?
Well, the most obvious thing is the instant gratification, isn't it?
Yeah.
These systems are basically designed to ping our brain's reward system.
Dopamine.
Exactly. That little buzz, the visual confirmation task complete, it releases dopamine. Feels good. Creates this sense of accomplishment.
Even if the accomplishment is just checking off an email.
Right. It's a really powerful feedback loop. Simple, but powerful.
And then there's social media. Wow, it's like this massive, collective, competitive reality show we've all opted into.
Definitely.
Your profile is your avatar, right? Carefully crafted. Each post is like a strategic move, a power-up maybe.
And the likes, the followers, that's your score, your social capital, measured in real time.
And the anxiety. Can we just talk about the stress of potentially losing a Snapchat streak?
Oh, yeah.
It feels completely out of proportion for something so, meaningless.
But it feels meaningful in the context of the game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
These platforms have just masterfully tapped into our, fundamental human need for validation, for connection.
So those likes aren't just clicks.
No. They function as a kind of social currency. They signify approval, acceptance, belonging within whatever online group you're part of.
And people invest so much energy in curating that image.
Absolutely. It's a performance. Consciously, or maybe more often unconsciously, it's aimed at getting that positive response, getting that higher score in the sort of digital social hierarchy.
Which really makes you step back and ask, okay, beyond the fun, beyond the validation, what are we really playing for here? What are we trying to get from these digital games?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And look how it connects to the whole self-help boom.
Yeah.
Which is often framed in very similar gamified terms. Meditation apps, tracking your streaks.
Got to keep that streak going.
Right. Or manifestation coaches telling you to log your affirmations, track your gratitude. It's all about measuring progress and things that are actually, inherently subjective, our inner life.
We want to quantify everything.
It speaks to this really powerful desire for control, for certainty, to make the intangible tangible.
It feels a bit like we've just updated our childhood habits, doesn't it? Like collecting baseball cards or getting gold stars on a chart.
Yeah.
But now it's digital tokens and badges. Only somehow the stakes feel, higher, even though the rewards are often less real.
It's still tapping into that same underlying drive, though. The need for structure, for proof of achievement, for recognition.
Yeah.
But this leads to a slightly more unsettling thought, doesn't it? Which is, how much are we choosing to play these games versus how much are the games playing us? Shaping our values, our behaviors, maybe without us fully realizing it.
Are we the players or the pieces on the board?
Kind of, yeah.
Because these games, they often boil down really complex human stuff like health or connection or learning into these super simplistic metrics.
Right, a step goal, met or not met, a post, popular or ignored. It creates this very stark binary, win or lose.
And that feels potentially damaging. Like you start to equate your self-worth with hitting those targets.
That's the real danger.
Yeah.
We risk conflating who we are with how we perform according to these external, often quite arbitrary measures.
Now, the irony is you can be so focused on optimizing everything, crafting this perfect online self, that you actually miss out on the messy, imperfect, but maybe more meaningful parts of real life, like just being present or having a spontaneous conversation.
Totally. You end up feeling exhausted and maybe even more disconnected, despite having on paper this highly productive, optimized, curated existence.
It's like we're polishing the avatar while the actual person behind the screen feels a bit neglected.
Yeah, and maybe, maybe this whole gamification thing is partly a defense mechanism.
How?
Well, it creates a sense of control, right? A safe space. Failures feel temporary, achievements are clearly marked. It could be a way to avoid dealing with the ambiguity, the messiness, the bigger challenges of adult life.
That's insightful, like creating a manageable little world when the real one feels overwhelming.
Exactly. It's like, when did we stop seeing ourselves as these whole, complex, imperfect beings and start treating ourselves more like characters in an RPG, always grinding for the next level up?
Wow. Okay, so that leads us into thinking about our digital lives as this sort of unconscious playground.
I like that phrase.
Like our social media profiles are modern dreamscapes, reflecting desires and anxieties we're not even fully aware of.
I think this is a really useful lens. Think about those likes again. Surface level, it's validation, okay.
Yeah.
But psychologically, maybe it symbolizes something much more fundamental, a craving for approval, acceptance, maybe even a kind of emotional feeding,
Yeah.
like an echo of very early needs.
And that constant checking of notifications.
Could be seen as trying to get that need met again and again.
And the flip side, that awful pang when a post just bombs,
Yeah.
it feels so personal.
It does. It's not just, oh, well, it can feel like a real judgment. And that's where you could bring in something like projection, right? Meaning maybe the perceived indifference of others online triggers or mirrors our own deep-seated insecurities. That little voice saying, am I not good enough? Am I unlikable?
Oof. Yeah. Hits close to home.
And the gamified structures themselves, the points, the streaks, the challenges, you can see that as a form of sublimation.
Sublimation, like channeling energy.
Exactly. Channeling those underlying anxieties about uncertainty, about failure, maybe even about mortality into something structured, something seemingly manageable, like winning a digital badge.
But the problem comes when the game itself takes over.
Yes, when the means becomes the end. When maintaining the meditation streak becomes more important than actually feeling calmer, or when racking up likes overshadows genuine connection.
The tool becomes the master.
Precisely. And if you think about some core psychological drives, Freud talked about eros, the life instinct, connection, creation, and thanatos, the death instinct, aggression, destruction.
Okay. Where are you going with this?
Well, look at online behavior. The intense arguments, the pile-ons, even things like cancel culture. Could you see those, partly at least, as expressions of thanatos? Aggressive drives channeled outwards, maybe relieving some internal tension?
That's a dark thought, but I can see the parallel. It feels cathartic for some, maybe. Destructively so.
And conversely, that relentless pursuit of likes, followers, virtual achievements. Could that be seen as our life force, our libido, our drive for connection and meaning, but displaced?
Displaced onto digital metrics instead of, say, real-world relationships or creative work?
Kind of like a child pouring affection onto a favorite toy.
Yeah.
Real energy, real drive, but channeled into these digital symbols of status and belonging.
And we might tell ourselves it's just networking or staying informed or self-expression.
But underneath, these deeper, often unconscious drives are operating. They're pulling the strings.
It's like civilization itself is built on managing these drives, right?
Yeah.
Repression, finding acceptable outlets.
Traditionally, yes. And maybe in our age, this digital, gamified, almost toy aesthetic world offers new forms of managing them. We redirect desires into fitness challenges or career milestones,
Which seem positive, productive.
but might still mask underlying fears or narcissistic tendencies or anxieties about simply being.
So despite all the tech, we're still wrestling with the same old primitive instincts.
Largely, yes. The stage looks different, high-tech, glossy, but the human drama feels familiar. The fear of losing followers today might echo ancient fears of being cast out from the tribe.
Wow. Okay, so thinking about this constant drive to win, to achieve success, progress, these almost unofficial slogans of modern life, maybe there's a twist. What if the games aren't just about winning? What if they're also about losing? Or the possibility of losing?
Interesting. Tell me more.
Well, the fact that you can fail, your post gets no likes, you miss your goal, you break the streak, that potential for failure, that little sting of disappointment, doesn't that actually keep you hooked?
It fuels the desire, perhaps? Creates a cycle of wanting, getting, losing, wanting again? Keep you engaged in the loop. That makes sense.
And what about that deep satisfaction of finishing something, completing a level, clearing your inbox, checking off that whole to-do list?
Ah, the craving for closure.
Yeah. Where does that come from? Is it like playing as kids, creating these little worlds we could control, finish, put away?
That desire to impose order on chaos, perhaps. Life feels unpredictable, messy. Games, lists, they offer structure, sense of completion, control. We might be subconsciously trying to replicate that childhood feeling of mastery.
You see it with dating apps too, right? Presented as this game to win, find the perfect match.
Right, swipe, match, chat, like a progression.
But for so many people, the experience isn't closure. It's just endless motion, an endless deck of profiles.
Which suggests the underlying motivation might not always be just finding a partner. Maybe it's also about avoiding something else.
Like avoiding emptiness or loneliness. The scrolling itself becomes the activity.
Exactly. Which brings us back to that idea of distraction, maybe even avoidance on a deeper level. Could things like endless scrolling, binge watching, could they be ways we numb ourselves?
Distractions from bigger questions, existential stuff.
Potentially. A way to sidestep confronting the void, the uncertainty, the big questions about meaning, mortality. It can be a temporary anesthetic.
But maybe that void, that uncertainty, maybe it's not something to just be avoided. Maybe it's just part of being human.
I think that's a crucial point, and perhaps even our digital culture in unexpected ways reflects that. Think about memes, emojis.
Yeah.
Aren't they sometimes like little windows into the collective unconscious? Shared anxieties, desires, coping mechanisms expressed in these compressed, often funny digital symbols.
Huh. Never thought of memes as expressions of the collective unconscious before.
Why not? They capture shared feelings, spread rapidly, they resonate for a reason.
So maybe this whole gamified toy aesthetic thing isn't purely negative. Maybe it's also a way we reframe reality, play with identity.
It absolutely can be. It offers a space, a framework to explore different versions of ourselves, to take small risks within the relatively safe boundaries of the game or the platform.
A contained space for experimentation.
Precisely. But the big question hangs there, doesn't it? The one we touched on earlier. What happens when the big game ends? The game of life.
Yeah.
Will we look back and tally up our digital achievements, our streaks, our likes? Or will we feel like maybe we were playing the wrong game all along, focused on the small wins and missed something bigger?
That's a heavy thought to end on.
It is. But maybe the answer isn't about finding a definitive right game or achieving some final win state.
What then?
Maybe it's about staying curious, about continuing to question, to explore, and maybe even learning to be okay with the uncertainty, embracing the process itself.
The journey, not just the destination or the score.
Exactly. Perhaps that ongoing journey of self-understanding, noticing these patterns in ourselves, asking why we do what we do online. Maybe that's the most significant, most meaningful game we can play.
So as you're scrolling, clicking, maybe chasing that next notification, just take a second, ask yourself, what am I really looking for right now? What feeling am I chasing? Or maybe, what am I trying to avoid?
What story you're telling yourself with each interaction.
Because every click, every post, every streak, it could be a clue, a little breadcrumb leading back to understanding your own inner world.
And that exploration, that feels like a game truly worth playing, with awareness.